Hello, everybody. Welcome to Connect. Man, this is amazing. This is incredible. Over 4,000 people here, biggest Connect ever. I just love seeing all the customers, all the partners, all the people here that are just trying to figure out how are we going to transform our businesses. And we feel like we have some really important things to talk about around how we can help you transform. We're just so excited about what we're doing in the industry and what we can do together. So I want to start by asking you a couple of questions. How many of you, when you come into the office, feel that you're constrained, that there are challenges, there are dependencies, that you wish you could move faster, but you can't because you're kind of locked down in some bureaucracy and challenges in the business? How many come into the office and feel that way often? Show of hands. Okay. Now, how many come in and just walk in and go, I am completely unencumbered, I can run as fast as my creativity and my will and my desire, I just run like crazy every time I walk into the office and I just make amazing things happen? How many people feel that way? Come on, nobody? No MuleSoft people? Okay, so I think that was, I don't know, 1,000 over 0. Somebody can do that math. I think it's undefined. But, that's the challenge that we face. And if you think about humanity, that's locking down human potential. And when we have a situation where people can't really move and innovate and create, we're not living up to our full potential. We're not delivering on what we're supposed to. And the thing that's changed over the past couple hundred years, now as we're entering the fourth industrial revolution, is the expectation, kind of when you think about Maslow's hierarchy, it used to be we talked about earning a living. And it was called that for a reason. Earning a living meant earning enough money to have food and shelter. And the top of this Maslow's hierarchy really wasn't on the list for people. Okay, but now we're in a situation where we've got basically everything is at our fingertips, right? Every kind of entertainment, art, news, information, anything you can imagine is there. We've got incredible food, incredible, luxury accommodations. It's amazing just the amount of progress we've had just in the last couple of hundred years of humanity. Now that we enter this fourth industrial revolution, people expect more, and employees in particular, and your customers, expect so much more. They want to be up at that higher level. They want to be living up to that human potential. And we were born for that, right? We were born to love, to create, to build. We aspire to these amazing things. That's what we want for humanity. But the challenge is that we're shackled, okay? And we're shackled, I would say, certainly in the workplace, by the Matrix, okay? Hopefully most of you, show of hands of who's seen the Matrix. Hopefully okay, for those of you who haven't, just let the person next to you know you haven't, and they can fill you in as we go through this a little bit, okay? So the Matrix that I'm going to talk about is the Matrix of custom code. And it has a lot of similarities, actually, to the Matrix in the movie, because the Matrix in the movie was imprisoning humanity with a bunch of code. And we are in that situation today where people and organizations can't move as fast as they want to because we are locked down in this custom code. I think the best way to really think about what the Matrix is to talk about maybe the opposite of the Matrix. Let's talk about the opposite of feeling like you're locked down in the Matrix. And that's a garage startup, right? And this is a perfect place right here in the heart of Silicon Valley to talk about a garage startup. You think about people starting companies in their garage, in their bedrooms, in their apartments. It's a couple of intrepid souls that want to start something that's great. They want to open a new bakery, or they may be some technologists that want to go change the world. But what's amazing about that startup mentality is everything can happen instantaneously. There are no dependencies. Those organizations are hyper-fluid, hyper-agile. They can pivot on a dime. And as a result of that, they are able to disrupt and sometimes even conquer the giants. And there's so many great examples of this. I mean, we all know the stories, but Richard Branson, 15 years old, he started a magazine while he was in school, and his office was working out of the phone booth in his school. And his mother gave him a $200 loan, and he quit school when he was 16 years old, and the rest is kind of history. I mean, Richard Branson disrupted media, disrupted airlines, starting from $200 as a 16-year-old dropout working out of a phone booth. I actually, when I saw this, I thought it was Austin Powers when I first saw him. So he has aged very well. Next one, I love this story. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, she was 21 years old. She did not get into med school. She wanted to go to med school. She couldn't get in. She ended up becoming a brewmaster and learning about enzymes and everything around brewing, but actually could not break into the brewmaster industry in India. It was very male-dominated, and so she had to pivot, and she ended up starting what turned into India's largest biotech company. She started with 10,000 rupees, about $150, and built India's largest biotech company, starting at 21 years old. One that's near to this place, Jobs and Wozniak, we all know that story. Working out of Steve Jobs' bedroom, you had a visionary and a technologist, and the two of them combined. Wozniak Way is about a block from here. And the two of them combined and basically built Apple and disrupted the entire computer industry. So we've got these amazing examples, and they can just go on and on. We all know many, many stories like this, but amazing examples of people building these businesses from the very beginning as garage startups. And then, no momentum, no money, no resources, no brand, and they end up changing the entire world. And so you think about, that's kind of the opposite of the matrix, okay? Now, how do we get to the matrix? It's kind of a death by 1,000 cuts, and it starts with you start to build out as a company gets bigger. You start to add functions. Things need to specialize, right? You have your HR department and your finance department and your legal, manufacturing maybe if you're a manufacturing company, sales, and you start to build all of these silos of applications, of data, of processes, and they all need to work together. So you start wiring them together and you start building the matrix. You don't even know that you're doing it. You don't intend to do it, but you start building the matrix. And then what happens is when one system or process needs to change on that screen, all of a sudden 4 others need to change with it, and things start to slow down. And we start to basically constrain human potential at that point. And then when it gets even bigger, you get into these huge organizations where things are completely locked down in the monolith. Everything is wired together. We are shackled by this custom code. It becomes extremely difficult to make changes. And, if you think about an organization is a lot like an organism, right? Organisms need to evolve, they need to adapt, they need to change. And an organization, every single part of that organization needs to be able to change. And so you end up with a situation where one part needs to adapt to a new technology, another needs to adapt to changes in the market, another to competitive threats. Everything wants to change, but it's locked down. They can't make those changes. And you end up with this situation where nothing is moving, and you say, what do we do? How can we evolve as a company? How do we make it happen? And so what companies do is sometimes, and I'm sure some of us have lived, so you live to tell about it because you're here, but some of us have been in the situation where someone says, okay, this is such a mess, we're just going to wipe the slate completely clean, and we're going to rewrite everything from scratch. Who's been involved in one of those projects? All right. Those are probably not very successful, I would imagine. You probably had a few that went well, but most of them don't. They tend to be incredibly high risk. So people have learned over the years that big bang approach doesn't work. So what happens? You can't evolve the parts of the organization at the rate that they need to, and you can't clean sheet the entire organization. So what happens is you just settle for these little changes along the way, and that's where you end up just locking down human potential, because everybody wants to change and move and improve, and instead these big monolithic organizations just move one little piece at a time. And the hope, and I'm sorry, this has been really dark so far, okay? So it's going to get, I promise you it's going to get better, okay? So the hope and what's amazing is there are organizations, I'm sure some of your organizations, but there are plenty of organizations in the world that have fought this and won. And so you think about a company like Amazon, massive scale, innovated certainly in the beginning in retail, and then AWS, and now with Alexa and all their hardware. That's a company that's running at massive scale and is still innovating in an amazing way. Many of you have heard, most of you I'm sure have heard about Salesforce and MuleSoft coming together. Salesforce, large organization, named this year by Forbes as the world's #1 most innovative company, and that's the 6th time that Salesforce has won that. So great examples of companies at scale that have still figured out how to innovate. So it can be done. So let's get back to the title of this. You are the one. So you are the one, like Neo. You can be Neo. You really can, okay? And the thing is, if you remember in the movie, Neo didn't know he was Neo. He had no idea that he was the one until somebody told him that he was the one. Well, I'm telling you, you are the one. 4,000 of you are the one, okay? So you're the ones, and what I mean by that is when you get up every day and you're trying to do it the right way, you're trying to break out a piece of the organization, process, systems, and do it the right way, build it architecturally correctly, make it so that it all works using APIs, make everything pluggable, everything composable. You think, well, hey, I'm just doing my job. I've got this, my CIO has got a set of initiatives, and we're working down this, and I'm working on this e-commerce platform, I'm doing IoT, I'm doing SaaS integration, I'm modernizing my mainframe, I'm just doing my job. But what you don't realize is when you're carving it out like this and you're making everything pluggable, you start to tear down the matrix. And I had a great conversation last night with one of our customers, and it was just awesome. He was saying, we went into the core of our enterprise, and I took an X-Acto knife, and I just carved out the core. And he said, we've tried it 3 times, and this time when we did it, it took us 1/20th the amount we failed the first 2 times. When we did it on top of Anypoint Platform, we carved it out. It took us 1/20th the amount of effort as the previous times, and we were successful. And he said, now we've got that core carved out, and we can start innovating around it. So it can happen. You guys are the one. You can make it. You can carve it out kind of one piece at a time. And what we're so excited about is what this can mean about building out an entire application network. What I love is we can do it one piece at a time, and over time, you create an application network. So building out this application network, over the next couple days, you're going to hear a lot about the innovation that is coming out from MuleSoft that is going to help you build that application network. We're releasing a new Mule runtime, which makes it dramatically easier to develop. We're releasing our Anypoint Runtime Fabric, which lets you deploy, it's a container-based service which lets you deploy in the cloud as well as on-prem. We're releasing a new management capability that makes it much easier to manage, monitor, and troubleshoot across the entire application network. We're releasing several new connectors for SAP Business Objects, connectors for Microsoft Office 365, Amazon DynamoDB. A lot is coming out around connectors. I'm super excited to talk about what we're releasing in security. We've got a new gateway as well as automated tokenization services that allows you to lock down and secure the entire application network. And then finally, we're also going to be talking to you about our data mapping technology, which is now powered by machine learning, which makes an automated data mapping. So all kinds of innovations coming out that allow you to build an amazing application network. And we're so excited about talking to you about that over the next couple days. But I'm even more excited about our customers that are going to talk to you. We have, Vidya mentioned that earlier, we have some incredible customers here to talk. ASICS, Airbnb, HSBC, Hertz, New York Life. They're going to talk to you and help you understand their journeys. Thank you so much for being here to take us through that. So just to summarize, you folks are the one. You can actually transform your businesses by building out these application networks. You can unshackle humanity, you truly can. You can do it, unshackle from the matrix by building out an application network, by making everything pluggable, everything consumable. So, you got a decision that you need to make. All right. You can take the blue pill, and you can keep doing things the way you always have. And you'll wake up in the morning, and it'll be the same, and the matrix will still shackle humanity. Or you can take the red pill. You can completely transform your businesses and change the clock speed of your innovation. It is your decision. So with that, I just want to thank all of you for being here. I hope you guys have a great Connect.